Welcome down here, up there, all around the world. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to what we call The Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. It has been... 24? It has now been 24 hours since House Republicans reached into a bag of randos and pulled out a shiny new Speaker of the House. The man they chose is Louisiana Representative Mike Johnson, seen here just as the edibles are kicking in. Before yesterday, Mike Johnson had very little name recognition, except for the fact that he has America's most generic name. Now, I need your participation here. I want you to clap in here if you know someone named Mike or Michael Johnson. Any of those Mike Johnsons would be a better Speaker of the House. But Republicans are doing their best to convince us that their only choice was the right choice. Texas Representative Pat Fallon said this of Johnson.
I would really put him in a mold of Ronald Reagan. I know that's saying a lot. He's shorter than the president.
Yes. And that's the thing everyone associates with Reagan. His height. Who can forget this famous moment?
Mr. Gorbachev, I can dunk.
It's true. It's true, right top of the key. Matt Gaetz also had some words of praise for Johnson.
He's a Louisiana man, and we're going to bayou hours. So people are actually going to have to work on Mondays and Fridays.
Yo, it's exciting to have the first bayou speaker. Hey, how you all are? Just gonna drain the swamp, gonna get right down on them gators and pull about in a pirobo, lazy le bon ton jambalaya, I guarantee. Now, very effective, very accurate, very accurate. Oh, come on now. We don't have time for that. Not everyone was so effusive, like Indiana Senator Todd Young, who said, we just need a warm body at this point, right? They just need a warm body? Was this the race for Speaker or last call at Houlihan's? It's closing time. Hey, you shiny lady with all the flashy lights, wanna come home with me? What? Oh, I'd bang a friggin' jukebox. Now that he's got the job, Johnson has to actually do the job. As John Kennedy put it, the real work begins now. To pass anything, you have to go get Democratic votes. You don't have to be Einstein's cousin to figure that out. Yeah, we all know the true genius was Einstein's cousin.
Hey, excuse me, Steve.
I'm sorry, guys. It's my writer, Brian Stack. Say hi to Brian, everybody. Brian, I'm doing the monologue. What's up?
Well, Steve, I heard that Einstein's cousin thing, and it gave me an idea for a joke.
Okay, what you got?
Well, you know how Einstein had that theory of relativity?
Uh-huh, and?
There's gotta be a joke there.
And, what might that joke be?
Well, I'm gonna kick it around with the folks in the writer's room, see what we can cook up for you. What time do you tape the show?
We're taping the show right now. You're in front of the audience.
Perfect. They're gonna love this joke.
Brian Stack, everybody, my writer. Brian, thank you. Where were we? Oh, right. The new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Johnson is also extremely anti-LGBTQ, saying homosexual marriage is the dark harbinger of chaos and sexual anarchy that could doom even the strongest republic. If you're doing it right. Go through some dark chaos right now. Senator John Kennedy revealed perhaps the most upsetting fact about Speaker Johnson.
He does wonderful impersonations. If you haven't already, ask him to do a few of his impersonations.
Oh, I would love to see Mike Johnson's impersonations. Hi, I'm Mike Johnson, and this is my Robert De Niro. Meh, see, homosexual marriage is a dark harbinger of chaos and sexual anarchy. See, meh, meh, meh. I run the same. There's news about Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas.
Excuse me, Steve?
It's Brian again. Yeah, Brian?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but back to the whole Einstein's cousin thing. Me and the other writers looked it up, and get this, Einstein actually married his cousin.
Yeah, I knew that. And?
Feels like that could be part of the joke.
Okay. What is the joke?
Let me just run it up the flagpole. You're gonna love it. Boffo laughs.
Brian Stack, everybody. Thank you, Brian. Good man. He's a good man in a tight spot. Okay, back to Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. Over the last year, we've learned that Thomas failed to disclose things like 38 destination vacations paid for by billionaires, many of them at the exclusive resort Scandals. Now, we've now learned, according to a new Senate report, Thomas failed to fully repay a $267,000 loan for a luxury RV he received from a longtime friend. It was a loan that I would never have to pay. We've heard about Thomas's RV for years. He even showed it off on 60 Minutes.
What kind of an engine's this got in it?
This has got an 8V92 Detroit diesel.
Kind of weird timing on the horn there, but he just saw a bumper sticker that said, "Honk if you're on 60 Minutes." So, shocking revelations of secret payments to a Supreme Court justice who, coincidentally, happens to be the most pro-gun justice in our lifetimes. Which brings us to a story that is sadly all too common. Because last night, there was another horrific mass shooting in America, this time in Lewiston, Maine, where 18 people were killed and more than a dozen injured. This is unfathomable darkness, and there are no words to describe the sickening grief and horror. The suspected shooter, who, as of this taping, is still at large, reportedly has a history of mental health issues, including hearing voices, who had also threatened to shoot up a National Guard base, and who was committed to a mental health facility for 2 weeks over this past summer. Yet, he was still able to get guns. Now, we know the argument. Some people are going to say this is a mental health issue. Others are going to say it's a gun issue. But there's no reason it can't be both. For instance, some people are going to look at this tragedy and say, we don't have enough guns in America. That alone proves some of us are mentally ill. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter where the answers come from Republicans or Democrats or independents. There's no reason for this to be a partisan issue. Humans are dying. This is a human issue. And at times like this, you can feel powerless, but you're not. Because you can make this the issue you vote on. And I promise you, no matter what side of the aisle you presently sit on, you will not be alone, because 86% of your fellow Americans want universal background checks before any gun purchase. A majority of your fellow Americans want a ban on assault-style weapons. More than 80% of Americans want Congress to do something, anything, to prevent mass shootings. So ask your representative, what will you do? And if they don't have an answer immediately at hand, if they say it's too soon to talk about this, that means they've never really given it any serious thought, because they have had plenty of time since Uvalde and Marjorie Stoneman Douglas and Sandy Hook and the Pulse nightclub. So if they don't have an answer now, they will never have an answer. Now, we do have a new Speaker of the House, a self-professed, devoutly religious man who, on his first day in office, addressed this unspeakable tragedy. Let's hear what his new ideas are.
This is a dark time in America. We have a lot of problems, and we're really, really hopeful and prayerful. Prayer is appropriate in a time like this, that the evil can end and this senseless violence can stop. And so that's the statement this morning on behalf of the entire House of Representatives. Everyone wants this to end, and I'll leave it there.
Why would you leave it there? Is that what you think produces hope, just leaving it there and walking away from the problem? We're already capable of hope and prayer ourselves. You're capable of governing, theoretically. And I'm sorry if that sounds like too hard of a job for you. If that seems like too hard of a job, you know who's really got a hard job now? The people in Lewiston, Maine. That is hard. Now, they'll get through it. They shouldn't have to. But people do get through this. And there are very few people like Mainers. I know Mainers. I love Mainers. They're strong people. They've got moxie. Literally, it's the name of the official state soft drink. It tastes like carbonated cough syrup, but they drink it anyway. Because Mainers are tough. These are people whose idea of a beach is a collection of jagged rocks near freezing water. Their state flower, the Maine state flower, and this is true, is a frickin' pine cone. But they will get through this because they don't have a choice. They can't leave it there. They have to face this tragedy, and you have to face your responsibilities. And I dare anyone in power to show a fraction of the courage of all the families who have faced their tragedies and faced our failure to change. We've got a great show for you tonight. My guests are Keegan-Michael Key and Elle Key and director John Carpenter. But when we come back, I talk to George Santos.